fellow light being humans. This is Mahadeva, the Thunder Wizard. Welcome back to the Thunder Wizard channel. All right, so I'm going to be sharing with you some very interesting understandings about things that have been shared with me by my extraterrestrial higher dimensional friends. So I'm going to be going into depth about the very powerful seed mantra that was taught to me by my Mantis alien guide. And I'm going to give you some understandings of what the point of this very powerful sound frequency is and what it does. It actually destroys three-dimensional Earth. And that may sound very harsh. Why would an alien species want to destroy three-dimensional Earth? And I'm going to be sharing with you what that is and what mantras really mean, what they really do. Welcome back to the channel. All right, so before I get into it, if you live in Australia and if you live in Australia and you want to see me speak in person, you can come to this event here, which will be on the 29th in Kabul Tour. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but that's just north of Brisbane. So if you want to go there on the 29th, I will be there. I don't expect it to be a huge event, but nevertheless, there it is. All right, so Mantis alien teaches me mantra to destroy 3D Earth. So somebody already, looks like a new person, said, why such a violent message? Well, that's an assumption. I haven't said anything violent yet. And when you understand the context of what this is, you're going to find out this is the furthest thing from violence. But you're right that it was that was a clickbait title, but it's not an inaccurate title. So first, we need to understand the nature of mantra. So there are all kinds of seed mantras. The mantra Om. Om is a seed mantra. But there's many different seed mantras. Om, Hring, Shring, Kling, Aing. And if you know anything about mantra, like for instance, the mantra for Chamundi, which is a very powerful mantra which destroys negativity on multiple levels. It starts with 3 seed mantras. Actually 4, if you put the Om mantra in front of it. Om, Aing, Hring, Kling. And so, for instance, Hring, we can just talk about Hring. H-R-E-E. It's usually spelled with an M, even though that M is pronounced as an NG. And all seed sounds have an NG sound at the end of them. And the reason for that is that that NG sound, including Om. Om is pronounced Om. Om. That NG sound, what it does is it acts like a magnet that pulls the Kundalini up through to the crown chakra. And Kundalini, the reason why people have Kundalini psychosis. So there's a lot of people who have experienced this, who say, my Kundalini awakened and I started having nightmares and I was seeing demons, or they vacillate between feeling like a victim or feeling like God. Not like the normal deity that we all are, but the biblical God. I controlled everything. And then they'll turn around and say, and all the demons were trying to destroy me. They'll talk about pain in the body and shooting energy. The reason why people go through Kundalini psychosis is very simple. They aren't spiritually ready. They're not spiritually mature enough to be detached, because Kundalini is higher dimensional energy. that when you chant these, people don't understand this about mantras. Mantras aren't like good luck spells where you're playing around and manipulating 3D. Mantras are designed to raise Kundalini, and Kundalini detaches you from the illusion, the Maya, the matrix of 3D. Now, people will chant mantras like Shring and Hring, and they will do that to empower their physical life. Same for the seed sound for Ganesha, Gang. Om Gam Ganapataye Namah. That Gam sound is a seed mantra, and people chant it because they want success in their physical 3D life. But what they don't realize is that all of these mantras are designed to destroy the illusion of the matrix, which is detaching you from the third dimension. These mantras, when your focus is appropriately placed, what will happen is, the reason why, for instance, Ganesha breaks down obstacles to your success is because before that, before you chant it, you will be wrapped up in a false illusion of what success is. So when you chant to Ganesha, for instance, when you start a business, or for children especially, or for marriage, to give a blessing so that things will go well, what's happening is that this higher dimensional energy is destroying your three-dimensional illusionary attachment to the false aspects of the third dimension. So in other words, if you do it for a business, your business will be focused on ways that you empower yourself and empower others, and the universe will provide material resources to help you follow your spiritual path. But if you chant to Ganesha because you want to be able to have power to manipulate others or have lots of money so you can get all wrapped up in riches, it won't work that way. It will actually start to shift you. You won't find any success until you actually start to shift and go, oh, this is actually something I should be doing for helping others, or I'll change the focus of the business to be more about helping the world. And then you get the blessings of Ganesha. Ganesha, by the way, is a 3D manifestation of the god of death, Ketu. The south node of the moon means to be taken out of the third dimension. It's incredibly, it's seen as a malefic, incredibly powerful, destructive force to the third dimension, but it liberates the soul. So he's the god of death, but he's also the god of moksha, liberation. So when you interact with any seed sound, you must understand that the point of the seed sound is to destroy your attachment to the third dimension, destroy your illusion. If you're trapped in the matrix, these seed sounds are here to destroy in these certain ways. So Hrim is one that destroys your attachment to physical Maya. Shring destroys your attachment, your false attachment to riches. Om will destroy your 3D limited understanding of the universe. Aing will destroy your 3D attachment to your intellect. So when a year and a half ago, as you know, my first major encounter doing CE5, which is Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind, I had a very powerful experience with my perception of him anyway was that he was a red-colored 7-foot mantis being. And it shocked me so much. It was, he put his finger on my crown chakra and gave me what we would call Shaktipat, or energy transmission. Or it's what happens when a guru initiates you into a specific tradition where you are connected to higher dimensional beings, teachers, ancestors. So he did this, and you can see it in my video, How I Became an Extraterrestrial. You can go watch that video and you'll see what happened. And that's, over a year ago that I made that video. So I've learned a lot since then. But I was having so much, my mind was coming apart in so many ways because I was so instantly being transformed into another connection to another reality that I actually had to take some time off. I was talking with these beings on a daily basis, and I took some time off. I specifically chose not to reach out to them because I just wanted to get my bearings. And after a few days of that, I was lying on my couch, and I was, I could see out a window, and see up in the sky, and it was getting close to sunset. And I saw, coming out of the clouds, I saw this enormous electric red orb, ruby red, electric red orb, and I saw it coming down out of the sky. Now, I had already been shown, sorry, I've got something in my eyeball here. I've already been shown that is his ship. This Mantis being flies around in this ruby red electric orb. That's his ship. And so I already knew that about him. So when I saw it come out, I knew exactly what it was. And I had never seen anything like that. It was huge. It was like the size of a 747. If you could fit a 747, at least that's the way it looked, inside this huge electric ruby red orb as it was coming down, very slowly coming down out of the clouds. And I immediately got up and I said, "What the F is that?" And I ran to the window, and as soon as I got there, it vanished. And I knew what the message was. He knew that I was trying to take time to get myself back together because this very sudden exposure to these other dimensions was really messing with my brain. So he was saying, "I'm here," and he was asking, by the way, this is how ETs work, all of that stuff about ETs abducting people, that is done by beings that are not extraterrestrials. You can see them as paranormal if you want. They definitely have paranormal abilities, but they are not extraterrestrials. They are terrestrial, third dimensional beings. You could even call them demons. They are deceivers. They are here to lie to you. So everybody who's been abducted, I'm sorry to say, if you weren't delusional and you actually had a physical experience, which does happen, it was not done by ETs. It was done by three-dimensional beings lying to you, pretending to be extraterrestrials when they were not. And the reason why I say that is that, my ET guide showed up and he was asking for permission. He was coming down and he was letting me know that he was there because he wanted my permission. If I had said, "No, I'm not ready for this," he would have gone. He would have left. He would have left me alone. They never force themselves on you. This is very important. This is why, the message that he gives here, tell Earthlings to detach from 3D immediately. That's your choice. Nobody's going to force that on you. In any case, he showed up and I knew what was going on and I invited him in. And I said, "Please, you're welcome to come into my home. Thank you for showing up." And I knew that he wanted to teach me something. And nobody physically came and beamed in, but he was definitely physically there, just phased out of third dimension. And the energy became very strong and powerful. And he started teaching me how to chant mantras. First, he started teaching me how to chant runes, which was very interesting, and that's a whole other thing. And then he started teaching me how to chant seed sounds. And then he took a seed sound that I already have been shown years before, which is the base mantra that I teach here, which is the Huul breath, Huul breath. That is a earth mantra breath that will empower you. I teach You can just go type in Hool breath, and you can see me from almost 20 years ago teaching people how to do this very, very powerful and healing mantra. So he started teaching me how to, starting with that Hool sound, and it started to change into something different. And as I started changing that, listening to him, change the, how I was pronouncing it and how I was chanting it, and feeling the energy and following the energy, it turned into this incredibly powerful mantra of transformation. In fact, you are listening to it right now. So what that mantra is that you're hearing, Huar, that is a combination of two seed sounds. The Hu sound, H-U, that is an earth sound. Now, that actually, the Taoists understand this sound, and they teach it in what's called the 5 element breaths. And the element breath for the earth is Hu, H-U. Hu. By the way, and not only that, it was taught by Sikhs teach it also. I don't know yes, and it is also taught by Vedics. The mantra Hung, H-U-N-G. The N-G sound empowers it and turns it into a weapon mantra, meaning a weapon to destroy negativity. But the root of it is Hu. And the Ekankar is a cult, by the way. The Ekankar cult, that name Ekankar, is actually taken from the guy who started the cult, trained with Sikh masters. And they have a very powerful Sikh mantra, Ek Onkar Sat Nam, Siri Wahe Guru. Ek Onkar means there is one creative force. And Ek meaning one, Om meaning the power of consciousness creation, and Kar, which means creator. So this guy took the word Ek, the 3 words Ek Onkar, and made up something, Ekankar. They took that same mantra, and these crazy, uneducated Westerners took the Hu sound and turned it into Hu. So when you hear them going Hu, they're mispronouncing it. It's silly to me. It annoys me, and it's very silly. But this Hu sound is so powerful, even cult members make it up and turn it into something else. So this sound of the earth, Hu, became transformed into this Huar sound. And so that second sound of Ar, that is a sound of higher dimensional communication and transformation through fire. So Hu is an earth sound, which will actually, if you follow it, it will take you to deep earthly waters. And you add the L to it, Hu, it takes you down to the waters of creation of the earth. So this is a transformative sound, where you're taking the sound of earth and through fire transforming it into a higher form of experience and communication. And so I've been chanting it this whole time. You hear that in the background. For me, like the Hool breath, it has far more power if it's done as a breath, where you don't voice it. And I teach you how to do that, where the air is coming out both the mouth and the nose at the same time, and not putting any sound to it. When you do that, especially when you do it mentally, you are actually transforming in a higher dimension. You're transforming the earth into a higher dimension. So as time has gone on, I've learned more and more of what this mantra is. We are really on the cusp of something. I can tell you, I can feel things are starting to change very rapidly, and the speed of transformation of the earth is happening very rapidly right now. I don't know exactly what's going to happen, but I do know there's probably going to be more craziness, wars, maybe even some destructive things Don't pay any attention to that unless you happen to need to run away from missiles and bombs and things like that. Unless you're having to run away from bullets and bombs, don't pay any attention to it. Don't let it distract you, because the whole point of it, it's an orchestrated attempt to distract you so that you will not go through this transformation. The dark forces that run this world know that transformation is occurring, and they're panicking, and they're doing everything they can to try and keep you in their power. And fear and confusion is, two of their most powerful tools, and that's what happens. That's why all wars have always been orchestrated to discombobulate you so that you can be controlled. So this Huar breath, I knew then very quickly that this was a mantra to transform the earth into 5D. Now, my views about how this 5D transformation is going to occur have changed. They've evolved a little bit. And if you've been following my channel, you know what that is. But when I was first given this mantra, I was led to believe by the ETs that the earth was going to shift, which is true, as a result of what we call the solar flash. The solar flash, when I asked them what does that mean, they said, they actually didn't call it a flash, they called it a wave. They said it's going to be a solar wave event. And when I asked specifically what it was, they said it was going to be a series of solar waves of love that are going to hit Earth and transform the Earth up to a higher dimension. I didn't believe it. I thought I was making things up. Until a little bit of research, I found out I'm not the only person to be talking about this. People have been saying this for 20 years. And it has to do with solar radiation that is flipping on, among other things. This is one of the things that's happening. We are physically evolving. It is flipping on switches in our DNA. And don't take this lightly, because there are people absolutely losing their minds. I've never seen anything like this. I've never seen people losing their minds to this degree. Absolutely, totally losing it. And one of the reasons is because it is when you don't understand what's happening. When your DNA, there are switches being turned on and turned off in your DNA. Your body's telling you something's going on. I'm changing. If you are a frightened person, you want to stay exactly where you are. That's one of the things that fear does. It makes you not want to experience any change. So if you're not part of the change and you're not cooperating with it, then your first reaction is to be filled with fear and anxiety. And people who are filled with fear and anxiety tend to be very irrational and destructive. So if there have been people in your life who have been accusing you of things that you're not doing, who have been losing their temper with you, who have just been up and leaving you, or acting in other crazy weird ways, taking crazy weird risks, acting out of strange delusions, it means that they don't know what's going on, unfortunately, and they are fighting the shift that is happening to them. So this is what happens when people have Kundalini psychosis, by the way. What we're seeing here is we're seeing massive Kundalini psychosis. People who are having Kundalini psychosis can be very narcissistic and destructive. They're fighting the shift. And if you want to be a part of this, you must surrender to it. So I'm not the only person saying this. Scientists, even though they don't realize it, believe in solar flash events. We've had them before. And one that's been proven is that when Neanderthals disappeared, they disappeared off the face of the planet, and human beings became the dominant species, in fact, the only humanoid species. And there were other humanoid species that disappeared. Scientists have confirmed that right at the time that the Neanderthals disappeared off the planet, two things were going on. There was a solar maximum, which we are experiencing right now. It's not unusual, but there was a solar maximum where the poles of the sun were shifting, and that created increased solar storms and solar plasma, solar radiation, solar wind, solar activity that hit the Earth. That happens a lot. That's not a big deal. The Earth has a magnetic field which usually deflects the majority of solar radiation. But at that time, there was something called an incursion event, which means that the Earth's magnetic field was also fluctuating. So the poles, the magnetic poles on the Earth at the time were fluctuating, and that weakens the electromagnetic field of the Earth considerably. And the combination of these two events, a massive increase in solar activity and a decrease in electromagnetic protection of the Earth, created a huge increase in solar radiation and very likely gamma radiation, which again, scientists have confirmed that the sun is giving out gamma radiation, which is impossible. The sun, if you ask a scientist, how does the sun give out gamma radiation? They won't be able to answer you, because the sun doesn't create it. They'll say somehow it's reflecting it from the black hole at the center of our galaxy. Black holes release massive amounts of gamma radiation. Interestingly enough, this whole solar flash event 20 years ago, the people who first started talking about it said that what's going to happen is there will be an ascension event where the sun will begin to project gamma radiation from the black hole from the center of the galaxy. And they would spiritually explain it as that, the Earth is alive and it's gonna send this energy through some kind of a wormhole out through the sun, and this gamma radiation will hit Earth and will shift everything up. And scientists are saying this without realizing it. Scientists are confirming this. We are in a solar maximum event. We have had unprecedented solar radiation hitting Earth since the end of 2022, scheduled to last until 2025. There is an incursion event. The Earth is having, the poles are shifting, which is creating much less electromagnetic energy coming from the Earth. The Schumann resonance of the Earth, which is the frequency that the Earth gives up, is fluctuating intensely. And so what we are experiencing is an evolutionary event. And it turns out that everything that these New Age people have been saying, wherever they got their information, has been correct. The information I got came directly from ETs. I resisted it. It sounded ridiculous to me. These aren't things that I find easy to believe in the slightest. And so why is this happening? Why does this ET say that we have decided that Earth must be transformed? So my first belief was that the entire Earth was going to shift up. So I took that to mean that every single person on Earth, including the evil people, evil, destructive, dark force people, that everybody was going to shift up, that everybody was going to wake up and go, oh, wow, we live in this spiritual universe, not this material 3D. Oh gosh, I'm going to give up my evil ways. I love everybody now. That's what I thought was going to happen. And in fact, when people started saying that only those who are seeking to evolve will shift up and the rest will actually shift down, they will end up moving to a different, lower vibrational 3D Earth. And those who are wishing to evolve will shift up to a higher frequency of Earth. And this particular 3D Earth will be destroyed. It will cease to exist. People were saying that, and I self-righteously defended my belief and attacked people, and I called people spiritual bigots. And I mean, if you were here and you said that, you got my wrath, because I couldn't tolerate the thought of anybody being left out. It reminded me of the Christian rapture, where only those who are in the right club get to go up, and everybody else, no matter how good they are, they won't get to go be raptured. But it turns out that as I have continued to evolve more and more, my ET friends have been very gently persuading me that no, not everybody's going to make it. And the only reason they won't make it is because they will choose not to. They will choose to stay they want to stay on this 3D Earth. Unfortunately, that is not a choice. This 3D Earth, by the way, as I talked about in a previous video, this Earth that we're on is only temporary. It is not the same Earth that I grew up on in the 60s and 70s. That Earth is somewhere else. That Earth is on the complete other side of the galaxy. That Earth had a yellow sun. This Earth has a white sun. And it is 73 light years away in the Orion spur of the Milky Way galaxy. And the Earth that I was on, I mean, there's no denying this. There's still some Mandela effect residue that, Carl Sagan and others were very clear when they said that the Earth was in the very outer edge of the Sagittarius arm on the complete other side of the galaxy. That was the Earth that I was born on. And I don't exactly know how or why the Mayans knew. The Mayans said 2012, didn't say that Earth was going to be destroyed. It said that the Earth was, and the sun and all of the stars that surround us, and all of the planets in our solar system. They said that was going to go through a wormhole and end up a different world. That's where we are now. But this world is a temporary holding. We're in a holding pattern. This is why the Mandela effect is happening. The Mandela effect is nothing short of history is changing. Not people are misinterpreting history, but the actual history of the planet is changing. This is not a stable Earth. It's a cut and paste, and it wasn't meant to last very long. It is coming apart. It is splitting, and this is why people are splitting. People are becoming more and more polarized. More and more people are waking up, and more people are getting more entrenched. And so we're seeing the split happen. But eventually what's going to happen is that everybody on Earth is going to shift up or down, and this Earth will disappear. It will be destroyed. And this mantra that you hear in the background, which was given to me, it is my belief, and I'm not attached to this, I don't need this to be true, but it is not my belief, it is my intuition, my feeling is that when we get to the new Earth, there's going to be either a lot of people on Earth or a specific group of people who will be chanting this mantra 24/7. Because they will be tasked with helping Mother Earth to transform. As I shared in yesterday's video, Mother Earth is going to be reincarnated. Let me explain how reincarnation works. It's not how we experience it. Now, you've been reincarnated, and you experience that you are one soul, one identity, and you keep reincarnating in these different human personalities hundreds or thousands of times, and you're seeking liberation from that, which, by the way, is just make yourself happy and you'll never have to reincarnate. But that's not what's happening. The way to look at consciousness is to imagine light going through a prism. What does it do? It creates a rainbow. Now we only see, 7 colors? In our 3D, our eyes, we only see 7 colors. Right? I don't know how many there are. But actually imagine an infinite rainbow with infinite numbers of colors. The light that hits the prism is white. It is one ray of light. That one ray of light, when it hits the prism, it splits into a bunch of different colors, however many there are. There could be 100 colors, 1,000 colors, but it's not like there's 1,000 different light rays. There's only one ray of light hitting the prism. There's 1,000 different, splits into 1,000 different frequencies. So you right now in this physical life, you are a frequency. You are a specific frequency. The guy that you're looking at now, this bald-headed, aging, middle-aged guy here talking all this nonsense, you only see that one frequency, which is my 3D frequency. But there are frequencies going all the way up to the 12th dimension. So there are aspects of me, and I know this not only because it makes sense logically, not only because I've seen how consciousness is, splits apart. I've been shown that, but I've also talked to, I feel like 2 or 3 different versions of myself that my ET friends have introduced me to. They've said, your higher self is gonna come and talk to you. In the very beginning, when what was happening it was bizarre. That has calmed down. I mean, it doesn't happen anything like it used to, but it feels like for weeks, could have been 2 to 3 months, but it was a long time. Daily, especially in the first few weeks after that initial meeting with that red Mantis being who initiated me, there were light beings that were coming into my room as I was sleeping, and they were doing all kinds of things to my energy. They were doing all kinds of energy work and shifting things around, and I was having these crazy dreams, and the energy that was flowing through me, it was very, very intense. In fact, I woke up in the middle of the night once, and my right foot was up in the air, and it was, somebody, an unseen person was actually, manipulating it to let go of tension, and I'm like, what the hell is going on here? Very, very intense. And in one of the, very early on, my ET guide said, your higher self is coming to talk to you. And it was a version of me, and you think that when you meet, I'm okay with it now. I enjoy meeting my higher self now, but that was the first time I'd ever experienced my higher self, one of my higher selves in a higher dimension. And he came to me, and I didn't like him. I thought that he was very brash. I thought he was very full of himself, and he was joking with me. And he said something like, "Hey there, Sparky." Something like that. And he was doing energy work on me. And, as I'm like, what the heck are you doing here? He's like, just relax, you'll be fine. And I'm trying to ask him questions. He's like, don't worry about it. Just, anyway, you'll be fine. And then he up and left. He had no interest in sitting down and, trying to hash things out with me. But I didn't like him at first. And I came to find out later that that was my projection. I was projecting onto him the things I don't like about myself in this. I've come to peace with a lot of myself. But the point is that we are in multiple densities, if you want to call it that, multiple dimensions. And so the earth also is a being. She is a feminine being. And she has multiple frequencies. There's a new one that's being created as a result of this high intensity light that's hitting the earth. She, like a prism, is now going to shift into different colors. There will be different levels of earth. And this level is going bye-bye. Now, what that means is that she is a being. She has a consciousness. She's not just a force. She is a conscious being that has life. She has karma. She has dharma. She has desires. She is just like us in that way. And for whatever reason, when human beings were, created by us, she volunteered to say, I will be the vehicle on which all of this life, what we call Earth, will live. She was going to be our vehicle, our spaceship, our mother. But she is going to die on that level of 3D. Her 3D life has come to an end. And just like you, when you physically die in the third dimension, you are reincarnated. And when you are reincarnated, you're not reincarnated as you were. You're reincarnated as an infant. You start all over again. You have to mature and you have to experience things from the mind of a child. Now, the mother that we have now is an adult. And she has put up with, as we talked about yesterday, she has put up with unbelievable negativity directed at her. And she has to heal from that. Just like you, in each lifetime, sometimes you have lifetimes where you have to deal with tremendous negativity and you bring those wounds into the next life. And that's, a lot of the negative karma is replaying those old wounds, trying to heal them. Now, Mother Earth doesn't have the opportunity that we have. She doesn't have the privilege of being able to make a bunch of mistakes, and because she's got all of these other beings living on her. All of the plants and all of the animals and all of the spirits and all of the many different kinds of life and consciousness that she hosts. She does not have the ability to have a bad life where she messes up and is destructive and gets to learn from it, because all of the beings who reside on her will be damaged from that. However, she will be a child. The 5D Earth that we talk about, she will be a child. It doesn't mean that the Earth will look any different. In fact, it will be seen through the eyes of a child. And what do children see? Children see rainbows and unicorns and magical beings and love and happiness, and they're full of incredible imagination. She's going to be seeing her world that way. So the new Earth is going to be like ours, but it's going to be like a Disneyland, little girl's fantasy. It's going to be beautiful and sweet and lovable and kind and all those things. So the only people that will be allowed, not because of any edict, but because of the frequency itself, the only people who will be allowed up on that earth are going to be people who are prepared to love and nurture Mother Earth. We will not be in a position to screw around and destroy anything or destroy each other. She won't be able to handle it. She won't have the maturity. She will be a little girl. So we must be the adults. And we must love her. In this new earth, there's going to be sacred altars all over the place, where people will be daily bringing flowers and bringing gifts and singing songs and praying to her and telling her how beautiful she is, how wonderful, how amazing, and how much we love her, so that she can grow strong and beautiful and happy. And I don't know how long this is going to take. I don't know if it's going to take thousands of years or who knows what. But the human beings that come really will be the caretakers of this new beautiful earth. We will have to become childlike. And the focus of all human life is going to be, as there's not going to be anybody looking to have careers. There's not going to be any politicians. There's not going to be any bankers. There's not going to be any doctors and lawyers and business moguls. And there's not going to be, worldwide celebrities. None of that stuff is going to be happening. There will be technology, but it will be very simple, consciousness-based technology that will only be here to create this beautiful nursery for her. And for human beings, the focus will be on the children. And the focus will be on raising children to learn their powers of creation. From the moment that they come out of the womb, we will be teaching them how to meditate. We will be teaching them how to empower their imaginations. We will be teaching them how to create, how to sing, how to dance, how to make art, how to make music, how to communicate with plants and animals. The higher dimensional beings, like my Mantis friend, these beings will freely be able to come and go. They can't do that here for two reasons. Number one, human beings have been killing them. All of these crashes, we hear about this crash retrieval program. Well, that's a lie. There's no such thing as a crash retrieval program, unless you put in the fact that the crashes that human beings cause, and then they go and retrieve the bodies of the beings they've killed. Roswell was not an accident. It was human beings shooting down extraterrestrials. There's a well-documented case of somebody seeing flying saucers long before Roswell. And it was, I don't know if it was in the 20s or the 30s, but it was somebody actually saw, and what they saw was this flying saucer, and it wasn't working very well, and they looked, and in the window was a human being wearing a jumpsuit, and he was working on the controls. They were just learning how to create flying saucers. Human beings did that. And they did that not because they reverse engineered it. That's what you're being told, that every human UFO out there is reverse engineered. And that's not true. Human beings in the 20s and the 30s and the 40s were figuring out anti-grav technology. You just never heard about it. They knew how to shoot these kinds of vehicles down. So that's the one main reason you don't see ETs, because they're human beings are looking for them 24/7 with very high technological equipment, looking for them and tracking them. So they're here. They have to stay shifted out of the third dimension so they don't get detected. Again, that's how you know somebody's actually met with an ET. If somebody talks about a physical ET appeared in front of me and took me onto their craft, 99.99% likelihood that was a human being pretending to be an extraterrestrial, either with an AI robot or with a holographic projection or projections into your brain to make you think you're seeing something you're not, an android robot. So that's the first reason. The second reason is that these beings, the ones that are coming to Earth and have been here from the beginning, are from higher dimensional civilizations. They might be physical beings that live on a physical planet, but they are in a higher dimension. And they don't like to be down in our dimension. It doesn't feel good to them. So for those two reasons, ETs can't be, we can't interact with them openly. We can interact with them, don't get me wrong. You can interact with them. Anybody listening to me, go and look at the playlist for the interdimensional meditation and do that, or Google CE5 protocols. Anybody can contact ETs. They will hear you. Whether or not you experience them and are able to communicate with them will depend upon your frequency and your fear level. So if you're in a good headspace and you're doing it because you want to make friends with your spiritual family, and you're willing to drop some fear, you will have an experience. You will have an energetic, physical, telepathic experience. You may have dreams, but I guarantee you they will connect with you. They're trying to connect with you now. I promise you that also. You just have to learn how to adjust your frequency, which means adjust your fear level and increase your love in your heart. Love is really how you're able to communicate with them. So in this new 5D Earth, there will be open interaction, because Mother Earth is going to need the nurturing. And as I said, the human beings that will be on the new Earth will have to be beings who are fully, completely focused on keeping Mother Earth safe, projecting strength and love and protection, not only for Mother Earth, but for the new humans that will be coming, who are going to be a new species. Maybe they'll look exactly like us, I don't know, but they will have new abilities, and they will need to be nurtured as children, because they'll be a brand new species. And so those of us who have been alive for a while, if we aren't born on that 5D Earth and we shift up, we must have the spiritual maturity and the complete devotion for the nurturing and the healing and the protection of the child. And I mean that in the broadest sense. And all of the multitudinous light beings of very many dimensions and different civilizations are going to be interacting with us, helping to raise and nurture a completely new Mother Earth and a new human race, where the idea of spirits and gods and deities, all of that, won't be something that is written about in fantasy books. It'll be part of everyday life. So how do we accomplish this transformation? I use the word destroy consciously. Who is Shiva? He's called the god of destruction. He's not a god of destruction trying to destroy things in a negative way. But in order to create something new, you must destroy the old. And this is why those people who are trying to stay in one place, what's happening? They're being torn apart. Physically, mentally, psychologically, they're completely losing it. They're being torn to pieces. They're being destroyed. So the part of you that will be destroyed is the part of you that is attached to the lower three-dimensional frequency. And I am not immune to this. I am having anxiety. I am having fear. I am having to mourn the loss and the changes of, my life and the world. And I'm, starting to allow myself to mourn over how sad it has been, the destructive, negative energy that human beings have had to endure and have brought upon themselves. I've had to mourn over that. We have to mourn over this time of transformation, which is a time of destruction. So to answer the person who came on there, why so negative? Why such a violent message? There's no such thing as spiritual evolution without destruction. The destruction of the ego, the destruction of the attachment to the third dimension. There is no evolution without transformational destruction. And this mantra, the Huar mantra, This mantra is here to destroy the limited negativity, the true violence. It's here to destroy the violence and to create this new, higher vibrational earth, which will have more spiritual fire associated with it. It's going to be a very dynamic, powerful, and beautiful place. And now we have the connection, the Hu, which is the earth that we know, and the Ar, which is higher dimensional communication and fire. This is coming together. So when you chant Hu, when you chant that, what ends up happening is you are assisting the shift. You are assisting the birth. If you don't want to call it the destruction of Earth, you can call it the birth of Earth. Because they're the same thing. Once life is destroyed, birth occurs. You can't have birth without death. So, I don't know the person who left that message, but my first response to you is look at the fear in your question. There's fear in there. You heard violence instead of liberation. Now again, I use that word specifically for effect, but it's not inaccurate in any way. And I can tell you from personal experience, if you're not prepared to go through a personal death and destruction, you won't shift. Won't happen. So we've got to embrace that. And the deity who is overseeing all of this is none other than Shiva himself, the god of transformation, who is what? The god of consciousness, the god of death. They call him there's the creator, which is Brahma. There's the preserver, which is Vishnu. Who's been the most chanted god, throughout Earth history? It's been variations of Vishnu, with Rama and Krishna especially, and Buddha. And these are designed to preserve and sanctify the existing three-dimensional reality. Shiva is the god of transformation. He is the god of pure consciousness. And that's why he does his dance of destruction, the Nataraja, the dance of destruction. So he is overseeing this. He is overseeing and watching this. So this is a great time to worship Shiva in whatever form you're attracted to. And to meditate on tapping into your true essence, your true spiritual essence, which means dying to the third dimension. That's why Vishnu isn't here yet. He's taking the back seat to this one. He may show up in 5D because he may need to preserve, and maybe there will be a new avatar of Vishnu that will show up in 5D that people will pray to preserve. Maybe there'll be a new version of Brahma, the creator. But for now, definitely chanting and worshiping Shiva will aid in this. And this mantra, I would go so far as to say the Huar mantra. Again, I'm the only person that I know of that's been given this mantra. So in that sense, I guess I'm a rishi. But I don't know if anybody else has been given this, but I can tell you definitely this is a Shiva mantra. When you chant Huar, you are connecting directly to the 5D transformative powers of Shiva. And he will oversee all of this. All right, so I think I'm done with that for the moment. So I put a link in the chat. I can put a link in the description, which will give you access to me chanting the mantra. And you can listen along with it. You can chant along with it. But I also suggest that you try chanting it silently in your meditations. When you do interdimensional meditations, mentally send that. The powers that the higher dimensional beings will instantly hear that and come to you. It'll be like the bat signal. They will go, oh, there's a transformational human there, wanting to connect, and they will rush to empower that in you and help that change and shift within you. Listen to it and allow it to create, rituals and to create practices. This is a time where people are being stimulated and empowered. More than one student of mine has come to me saying, I did the interdimensional interdimensional meditation, and this one Qigong practice that you teach, they showed me a way to expand beyond it. Is that okay? And I'm like, absolutely. Absolutely. I didn't make this stuff up. All the stuff that I teach here was channeled to me. So, there's some stuff that I haven't bothered to teach yet, which I should start doing. But we are in the most exciting period. We are the new rishis. Patanjali, the guy who is credited with being one of the teachers of yoga, was a Naga. I don't know if you knew that. Nagas had the ability to shapeshift into human form. And he was a Naga. The Nagas are the ones who brought us the knowledge of yoga and Kundalini meditation. This particular mantra came directly from a Mantis being. And one of the interesting things about this is that from the moment that I started interacting with him, my right ear started buzzing, and it closes up, and when I know that I'm getting a download, my right ear will go. Now, I struggled with that first few months. I was kind of worried about it. I thought maybe something was wrong with me. It turns out there's nothing wrong. When the higher dimensional information, really calms down, my ear will open back up to normal again. It'll go back to normal. So I know there's nothing wrong with it. But Vishwamitra, who was the rishi for I believe he was the rishi for the Gayatri mantra, the mantra of the sun. He had the same experience where he was in meditation and he heard in his right ear, he heard the mantra, Om Bhur, Om Bhuvaha, Om Swaha, Om Bhur Bhuvah Swaha. He heard that whole mantra, he heard that mantra, and he started chanting it. I think the Gayatri mantra might have come from one of these guys. There are other people who say they've seen, like there's one place in the United States, I don't know where it is, it's in the forest somewhere, and this one area of the forest is known for a mantis being that people see on a regular basis. And whenever they see him, he looks like he's phased slightly out of third dimension. And it's frightening because, to see a 7-foot tall, mantis being walking around is a little frightening. And of course, seeing something that doesn't look completely physical. But they also say that people who have seen it, the first thing that happens is they feel this buzzing in their right ear. I don't know what that means. I'm experiencing it. It hasn't stopped since I started working with them. So, yeah, there it is. I can't think of anything else. So, as I said before, I don't take questions anymore unless you are subscribed to the Warrior 90-Day Lightning Qigong, which you can go to thunderwizard.com and subscribe. You can unsubscribe whenever you want. I want to answer questions from people who are doing the practices so that they know to ask what I perceive to be intelligent, educated questions on the stuff that I teach. Before I get off on that, I didn't do the spiel. I'm here to give you the practices that will empower you to experience all of this. So go on to my channel, and if you're new to the channel and you want to try out the practices before you subscribe or do, not subscribe to the channel, but subscribe to the 90-day challenge. If you want to try out the energetic practices, go right ahead. There's the interdimensional meditation, free guided interdimensional meditations. You can do those, just listen to them. I talk you through it. You can do any of the Qigong practices, the Hul breath, the Huar breath, The Awakening the Immortals is probably the most powerful one. You can do those for free. If you like those energies, then go subscribe, because then I will teach you in detail very, very high level, powerful energy practices. If you want the most powerful practice that I've ever experienced, which is moving forms, which now I know come from these guys. These guys are the teachers of very powerful moving forms, maybe even things like Tai Chi and other things like that, I believe came directly from these guys. If you want to have a direct connection with that, and you want to learn everything I've taught, including Vedic astrology. Somebody asked me, if I do the 923, will I get the Vedic astrological teachings? And yes, you will get certified in my form of Vedic astrology. You'll get certified in rune readings, career. You'll learn how to become help people find their true path in life. You'll learn how to do energy healings, all of that, how to manifest, all of that stuff I teach here, 923. All of my teachings, which if you were to buy them individually would be something like $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, in at least $3,000. I'm giving it to you. I've slashed the price just to a few $100. Go to 923.thunderwizard.com. My books you can get at michaelwilliamdenny.com. Again, read my books. Most of the questions people ask, they haven't read my books, I can tell. Read my books. Know what it is that I'm teaching so that you can really be educated on a bunch of stuff, even far beyond what we talked about today. Three most important books are Interdimensional Revolution, where I prove to you that alien abductions are not done by ETs, but done by three-dimensional humans pretending to be ETs. Extraterrestrials are coming to Earth. And probably the most important book, which is the Shamanic Secret Commandment. To follow what's in that book, you will shift. I guarantee it. You can get my books at michaelwilliamdenny.com, or just go to Amazon, Kindle, or Audible and type my name in. And there, I've done all of my, this, by the way, keeps the lights on. I'm happy. I would love to be in a world where everything I give away is free, and 90% of what I do give away is free. But I do have to keep the lights on, and so that's why the most elite practices I've left very simple, very inexpensive. Subscribe to the 90-day challenge, or go to 923.thunderwizard.com. Helps me keep the lights on, and I appreciate that. All right, what else? Let's see, do I see any questions that I want to respond to? Fear of the unknown. That's exactly right. That is the only thing we need to overcome, is the fear of the unknown. Greg Barber's had good result with my practices. Yep, and Katz and Me is doing the Hua breath in his mind while listening to me. Yep, it will that's an interesting thing to do. Why do you think I have it on in the background here? Why do you think that I have this playing in the background? Because even if you're not consciously thinking about it, it's getting in there. It's shifting you. Anyway, that's it, my friends. I love you. I made it back. I had to leave Australia for just a short trip so that I could renew my visa. So I'm back for another few months, and I'm very happy about that. And a lot of stuff is coming starting right now. I think the most intense shifts yet are coming now. Starting now, between now and at least through the end of this year for sure. So, I'm here for you, and we'll see what happens. And again, if you're in Australia, especially if you're in southern Queensland, I will be sharing in person my experiences here. So if you need to, take a screenshot of that, there it is. All right, that's it for me, guys. I wish you all the best. I love you. Thank you for showing up. Please be good to yourself. No matter what's going on in your life, if you relax, do the Hul breath, do the Hua breath when you're feeling anxious and fearful and you're flipping out, you're feeling sad, angry, whatever it is, do the Hua breath, relax into it, because I'm feeling it along with you. I woke up today feeling it. Very intense energies. We need to relax and go with the transformation and use this time to let go of, become aware of your attachments to your three-dimensional life, because it's going away. 3D Earth is going away. Don't invest in 3D Earth. Invest in your soul. All right. Have fun. Be good to yourselves, and I'll see you very soon. Thank you. Take care.